What if a machine learning model could nudge your biological age markers backward instead of just slowing them down? Because that is exactly what this new breakthrough suggests. Imagine running a clock in reverse, not in science fiction, but in measurable markers of human biology. Subscribe to Smart AI Hustle for weekly AI playbooks you can use today. Here is the twist: most people skip the key aging step. In 10 minutes, I will show the proof and the fix. For decades, scientists tried to measure aging using averages, like how many years passed since birth. But inside the body, the story is more complex. Think of your DNA as the body's fundamental hardware. But, layered on top is a dynamic software system, the epigenome. This system adds chemical tags to your DNA, the most common being methylation marks. These marks don't alter your genetic code, but act like switches telling genes when to turn on or off. Over your lifetime, these switches accumulate, forming intricate patterns that scientists can now read like a highly detailed timestamp, a chemical logbook of your life. These patterns are known as epigenetic clocks, and unlike your chronological age, which simply counts birthdays, these clocks measure your biological age, the true wear and tear on your cells. This distinction is critical. Two people can both be 50, but one might have the biological age of a 40-year-old, while another, burdened by stress and poor habits, might be ticking at 60. This isn't just a number, it's a powerful predictor of your health span, revealing your risk for age-related diseases. The problem has been that while we could read these clocks, we couldn't rewrite them. Slowing them down, let alone reversing them, was considered nearly impossible. The aging process is just too complex. Healthy interventions like diet and exercise could create small, positive changes, nudging a few markers here and there. But it was like trying to stop a river with a handful of pebbles. The fundamental forward-moving current of the core aging program seemed irrevocably locked. That is, until researchers fed these epigenetic datasets into deep learning models. The human mind can't process this level of complexity, but an AI can. Instead of just describing the clock, the model searched for hidden switches, key pathways that have an outsized influence on the clock's ticking rate. Think of it as giving an AI the messy wiring of a grandfather clock and letting it experiment with which gears could run backward without breaking the system, finding the most potent points for intervention. The discovery? Certain combinations of metabolic signals and cellular repair pathways could be nudged in reverse. The AI essentially found that aging is not a single locked door. It is a series of levers, some overlooked, that when pulled in sequence create measurable rejuvenation. To appreciate why this matters, consider the typical medical approach. If you measure cholesterol, you treat cholesterol. If you measure blood sugar, you treat blood sugar. But aging is a system-wide cascade. Pull one lever and others shift, often undoing your progress. What the model revealed is that aging responds best not to isolated interventions, but to orchestrated sequences. That is why pulling the right lever in the right order is the hidden step most people miss. And once AI maps the order, the results are dramatic. Researchers demonstrated this in controlled lab studies where treated cells showed markers years younger than untreated controls. The stunning part is not only that the biological clock slowed down, but that markers actually reversed. Imagine a 60-year-old's blood sample suddenly looking like that of a 50-year-old on the molecular level. That is not fantasy. That is the result of combining AI pattern recognition with biological experimentation. If this sounds abstract, let's make it concrete. Suppose the AI flags a cluster of genes involved in mitochondrial energy regulation. Left on their own, they decline with age, lowering energy and cellular resilience. But if combined with precise activation of DNA repair pathways, the cells regain youthful function. It is not one supplement, one pill, or one hack, it is the choreography. Think of it like an orchestra. A single violin might play a beautiful note, but it's the conductor, the AI, that brings together hundreds of instruments in perfect harmony to create a symphony. Our biology is a system of staggering complexity, with trillions of cellular interactions influenced by our unique genetics, diet, and environment. For the human mind, calculating the optimal combination of interventions is an impossible task. This is where AI excels. It can see the entire orchestra and hear the full symphony, processing this immense dataset to create a personalized, dynamic score for our health. This is why AI is reshaping not just how we analyze aging, but how we can actively and intelligently intervene in it. Midway through this story lies a critical question: can these results move from the lab into real life? This is the crucial bridge that many scientific breakthroughs fail to cross, but the initial signs are incredibly promising. Already, trials in animals show extended lifespan and, just as importantly, improved resilience after following AI-guided interventions. This means the animals didn't just live longer. They lived better, bouncing back from stressors and illnesses. The data from these studies is striking. In mice, epigenetic markers, the chemical tags on our DNA that control which genes are active, were rolled back by the equivalent of several human years. It's like a factory resetting its machinery to an earlier, more efficient state of operation. More importantly, physical signs of aging, memory loss, immune decline, muscle weakness, also improved. This is the key distinction. The mice weren't just younger on paper, they demonstrated tangible, functional rejuvenation. They navigated mazes with the sharpness of younger animals, their immune systems mounted stronger defenses, and their muscles retained strength. These are not just cosmetic changes, they are functional resets of the very systems that decline as we age. The holy grail, of course, would be replicating these results in humans safely and effectively, and that is the monumental task where clinical studies are beginning now. The journey is long and cautious, starting with rigorous safety trials. But for the first time, we have a map, drawn by AI, that could guide us toward not just a longer life, but a longer, healthier, and more functional one. If this helped, hit subscribe and watch the full breakdown next. So how does the AI actually decide which levers to pull? At its core, the model uses reinforcement learning, training on vast datasets of molecular responses. Each time it simulates a change, it predicts long-term outcomes across thousands of pathways. Instead of waiting decades to see if a lifestyle change adds 5 years, the model forecasts outcomes in silico. It then suggests intervention sequences for researchers to test in the lab. This loop, prediction, lab validation, refinement, is what makes progress exponential. What once required generations of trial and error can now happen in months. For you and me, this changes the conversation about aging. Until now, we thought of anti-aging as creams, supplements, or miracle diets. But the new paradigm is systems-level orchestration guided by AI. It means that aging is less about fighting inevitable decline and more about reprogramming biology toward renewal. Some experts even frame aging not as a disease but as a software bug. If DNA is the hardware, epigenetic regulation is the operating system. The AI is essentially debugging that operating system. This also raises profound ethical questions. Who gets access to rejuvenation technology? If society can roll back biological age, how do pensions, retirement, and healthcare adapt? If some people extend their healthy years while others cannot afford the treatment, the gap between groups could widen. Imagine a new divide, not by income alone, but by cellular age. That future is already looming, and governments will be forced to consider regulations sooner than expected. But beyond the policy debates, let's return to the personal level. What does this mean for you today? While full clinical applications are still emerging, the same AI models are already flagging lifestyle patterns that matter. Sleep quality, metabolic flexibility, stress resilience, these are levers the AI confirms as key. By aligning daily habits with these levers, you effectively cooperate with the system. You are not reversing decades overnight, but you are setting the stage for interventions that could. Think of it as preparing your body's operating system to accept the upgrade when it arrives. Another exciting prospect is personalization. Traditional medicine prescribes broad rules: eat less sugar, exercise more. But the AI reveals that two people with similar lab results may respond differently to the same intervention. In practice, that means aging reversal may soon look like a personalized program where your unique biology dictates the precise sequence of levers to pull. This personalization is already common in digital health platforms, but aging reversal pushes it to the frontier. Here's the big picture. For centuries, we've viewed aging as an inevitable linear decline. But what if that's not the whole story? Aging is not a single wall you hit at a certain age. It is a system of patterns, a complex interplay of biological processes like cellular damage, epigenetic changes, and metabolic shifts. Think of them as interconnected gears in a vast machine. Over time, some gears get rusty, others slow down, affecting the entire system, and those patterns are programmable. This is where the paradigm shifts. The breakthrough comes from using AI not as a passive observer but as an active guide. Instead of just collecting data, AI actively sifts through trillions of biological data points to map out these individual aging patterns. It does not just tell you what time it is, it shows you how to reset the clock, optimizing the system for renewed vitality. As we close, remember that this story is not about escaping death or living forever. The ultimate goal isn't an infinite number of years, but a greater number of good years. It is about improving health span, the quality of years, not just the number. Health span is the period of our lives spent in vibrant, active health, free from the chronic diseases that often define old age. Lifespan is the finish line, health span is how well we run the race. AI is offering tools to extend vitality, to compress the window of decline into a shorter phase at the end of life. This concept, known as the compression of morbidity, is revolutionary. It means spending less time being sick and more time. That is a transformation worth paying attention to, a future where old age can mean wisdom and experience, not frailty. That is the true promise of this new frontier. Subscribe, then tap the end screen to watch the full breakdown.